An old man sat by the fire, his voice calm and steady as he addressed the young listeners gathered around him. "Let me tell you a story," he began, his eyes twinkling with experience. "It's about a young man, a farmer, much like any of you, who wanted to be the best at his craft." The old man paused for a moment before continuing. "This boy inherited a small piece of land and dreamt of growing the biggest, most beautiful crops the village had ever seen. He worked hard every day, planting, watering, and caring for his crops. But despite all his efforts, nothing seemed to grow as quickly as he expected." He leaned forward, his voice lowering. Day after day, the young man grew frustrated. His crops didn't reach the height he imagined, and he began to doubt his ability. He checked his fields constantly, hoping for some sign of change, but all he saw were slow-growing plants. The old man looked around at his listeners, his gaze sharp. One evening, feeling defeated, the boy went to seek advice from the village elder, an old woman known for her wisdom. He asked her, "I've worked so hard. Why aren't my crops growing the way I want? What am I doing wrong?" The old woman smiled and said, "You're focusing too much on the result. The harvest is not something you can force. The key is to trust in the process, in the work itself. When you stop obsessing over the outcome, the growth will come naturally." The old man paused, letting the words sink in before continuing. The young man, unsure but willing to try, followed the elder's advice. He stopped checking his crops so often and focused instead on the joy of working the land, feeling the earth beneath his feet, watching the seasons change, and trusting that things were growing even if he couldn't see it yet. The old man's voice grew softer as he finished the story. In time, the crops flourished. They were strong, healthy, and bountiful, better than he had ever imagined. The boy realized that the results came, but only when he stopped worrying about them and embraced the process instead. He smiled at the group around the fire, his eyes full of understanding. "Remember this," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "If you focus only on the result, you'll miss the beauty of the journey. Trust in your work, and the results will follow when the time is right."